Okay, vi er klar til den næste taler. Det er Jakob Wolffhechel, som skal snakke lidt. So who's going to talk about running XMPP servers within the Tor network. Give an applause to Jakob.
So hello everyone, and thank you for attending this. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers and volunteers at Bornhack for creating this space where we can talk about stuff, sharing ideas and technology, and drink beers and have fun. So this talk will focus on how to run a very Tor-friendly XMPP server. I forgot to put into the abstract that the server actually also enforces using OTR, so you cannot use this server without using OTR encryption, which probably most of you already know what is. The reason I enforce OTR is first of all to try to protect the users from, my users from sending clear text messages out on the networks. But secondly, it's also because many people use XMPP servers without encryption, and this server forces it. So if you have a friend who uses another XMPP server and doesn't use, and he doesn't or she doesn't use XMPP OTR, you will have to have a talk with your friend or switch to another XMPP server. And that's the reason why I do that. So first I will first I will talk a little bit about myself. Then I will talk about how I set up the server, how I secured it, and how I patched the server. And yes, so the background is, my name is Jakob. I've had an interest in securing systems since I put up my first server on the internet, and I've been using computers for the past 15 years or so. And the first server I set up was an FTP server so that I could share MP3s with my friends. And then I found out I had to put firewalls on it and NAT stuff, and so the knowledge grew as I wanted to do more stuff on the internet. And back in the day, there was a program called ICQ that really blew my mind. I installed it and my friends installed it, and suddenly we could talk to each other online instead of picking up the phone. And people who have been on the internet for a longer time will say that IRC was there before ICQ, but we were just users, we weren't nerds who knew how to use IRC. So ICQ was my first experience with online communication, and it was really nice. So some years ago I read about this interesting project called Tor, and I was very intrigued by the idea of using a network that to anonymize myself with. It was suddenly very, very easy to switch IP, switch identity and use another IP that wasn't my own, and it was also legal. Instead of using misconfigured proxies on the internet to get another IP address, suddenly we had a platform where we could get other IPs. So I also set up a Tor server and let it run for a few days. Then I tried to go on IRC, and I was banned from all the networks because I didn't know about exit node. So I had put up an exit node instead of a relay, and other people were using my IP for stuff on IRC. So I took down the server, switched my IP, and then I configured it as a relay instead of an exit node. So always remember to read the documentation before you put something on the internet. So that was, IRC, ICQ, and Tor. Then Windows, because I was talking to my friends on ICQ, then Windows came along with the Messenger platform, was really, really easy to use, and everybody switched to Messenger instead of ICQ. And I had friends I wanted to keep private communications with instead of delivering it through the Microsoft network. And there was a third party in France, I forget what the company is called, but they had an encryption layer on top of Messenger called SIMP, S-I-M-P, that we could use to talk privately with. I really liked it that we could talk privately, and that was my first experience talking securely on the internet instead of just clear text messaging. Then Facebook came along, and suddenly all my friends who I had forced to use SIMP, they started using Facebook instead, Facebook chat. And I found out that the Facebook chat used an open protocol called XMPP, and that piqued my interest. So I read about it and found out that I could use another client. I didn't have to use the web interface to talk to people. So I installed Pigeon, and yeah, Pigeon had this extra layer called OTR, off the record, that I could use instead of SIP for Messenger. So that's what I use. So many of me and my friends, we used Facebook and talked anonymously or privately using OTR. So the reasons why we did this was communicating privately with friends, and Facebook changed their XMPP implementation to not. It was very hard to use Pigeon and other clients on. You can use them again on Facebook now, but at that point you couldn't use them. And so Jabber ccc.de is a very well-known XMPP server. Many people use it, but their sign-up is always down, or the capture is failing, and also it's a single point of failure. So I set up my own XMPP server because I think we need to have more services. So when one goes down, we'll have another. I had some security considerations using setting up this server, and I have a server in Germany which is a dedicated server. It's not a VPS, so it's its own server. So I've tried to make sure that it's as locked down as possible. So I've tried to set it up as securely as I can. So it's a dedicated server, and it has the ports like USB and FireWire are disabled on it. And I also run a script on it that when weird changes happen to the server, it'll lock down. So if someone pulls the network cable and puts it into another switch, my server will lock down. I also use full disk encryption on the server. So that means that if someone takes out the hard drive, they only get gibberish, but I think you all know this. And also the Cloak DK services are running inside a jail set up on the FreeBSD machine, which it runs FreeBSD. Yeah, you can see I run quite a few different services on it. Or jails on my server, like these are number 38 to 41. I think I run around 65 different services on the server. Yes. My philosophy is to have one service per jail. It's a nice way to do it. So if you have like a SQL server that's vulnerable, it'll be difficult to jump from one service to another. And get user information from the service to use in another service. Also, I use the latest version of OpenSSL always because there's been so many attacks on OpenSSL recently. So I make sure to read the mailing list, and whenever a patch is created for something, I use that. And I use something called Poudriere, which is a package system. So it'll build all the packages for the server, and I actually only need to look at the mailing lists, and then if there's a new package for OpenSSL, I'll just say install that package, and boom, it's already created. And also the server uses a self-signed certificate because I don't have the money to buy from a CA. So and it also it doesn't really matter because it doesn't really matter. And I mean, forward going, maybe I'll use Let's Encrypt, but I haven't set that up yet. So this is how I create the cert. It's AES 256 and with 4096 bits. So yeah, it's just a script I use. Boom, then I have my certificate. some more security considerations. Even though I've disabled USB and FireWire, there's always an attack vector using ILO, which is a separate computer running on the server that you can use for management. So, I mean, you can use that. So, and also the server is located in Germany, not in Denmark, which means that it's not under Danish law, which I would really like, and it's always on. So even though I use full disk encryption, the keys are all in memory. So if someone attacks it in some way that I haven't figured out, maybe they can use the keys in memory too. I mean, the file system is not encrypted. It needs to be shut down for the full disk encryption to actually work. The Cloak XMPP server uses is something called Prosody. There are many different servers, but Prosody is the one I use because it had two modules that I really needed: the Onions mod and the OTR mod. So yeah, and it's written in Lua. I don't know Lua very well, but Lua is easy to read, and especially the modules are very small and very easy to look over what code is in them. And both mod Onions and mod OTR are part of the official Prosody packages or modules. So you can just, I mean, it's on the official website. And it's set up with two virtual servers. So you can either sign up to CloakDK, you'll get a username at CloakDK, or you can use a username at the Onion address that it also has. So yes, it's a very long name, very, very difficult to pronounce, but if you really want an Onion user, you can get one. And for all intents and purposes, it's the same server. I mean, if you have a CloakDK user, you can still talk to people who are using other Onion XMPP servers, and if you're using the Onion server, you can still talk to people who are not using Onion XMPP server. So if you have a friend who's on the Jabber CCC XMPP, you can still talk to that guy or her. And mod OTR is set up this way. As I said before, I enforce using OTR on the server. If you don't use OTR in your client, it'll warn you. CloakDK will send a message to you that you're talking unencrypted, but you can still send out clear text messages to your friend. So that's why I want the server to be in Denmark instead of Germany, because it'll cross a lot of networks. And I mean, most people who use it, I think, are in Denmark anyway. So yeah, that would be best. Wait. Okay, there's one slide missing, but there's a slide missing for mod Onion, but the Onion server, it uses the Cloak Tor 10.10.10 jail for communicating. So it has its own Tor client running that talks to the rest of the Tor network. And of course, I've set up the Onion inside that, the hidden service for it inside that. I would like to do a live demonstration of how you can sign up to the service, but I can't really do that because I don't have the right cable for showing it. It's on this computer, and the future of CloakDK is as a dedicated server in Denmark. So if anyone has access to a data center, I would really like to talk to them. And I mean, I would also like to have a dedicated server only for CloakDK, because I run a lot of other services on it. It would be nice to split that out from CloakDK. And also, I would like to have physical access to it, because I could create a gyro USB. So if someone tries to pull the server out of the rack, it'll shut down as well. So that was really what I had right now. If anyone wants to discuss anything with me, they're welcome to ask me any questions about the server. And we ran through it so fast that we can actually do, maybe I don't know. If someone has a cable for that works with this, I can do a live demonstration of how you set up an account on it. I don't know. Yeah, this one. So. Huh? Yeah.
Hey, have you considered self-hosting it at home rather than having the risk of the third party hosting? You know?
Do you say if I have considered running it at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean I don't have a good connection at home. It's just a cable connection, right?
Okay.
So if I had a dedicated fiber, maybe.
For just text, you don't need significant connection. Right?
Yeah, I know, but it's not a stable connection.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Other questions? Then we might have a live demo now.
Nej, det är inte. Ja, det är inte.